put it. And with each new center, we're feeding a ravenous machine that's gobbling up our energy resource at an alarming rate. So, just to recap, Dragon Ball Z style, we are currently running out of usable data to keep training these models on. And we're going to run out of that by 2026. And that's going to pretty much limit the ability to continually scale up what we're doing. I'm just looking at this in a practical sense, not even from, you know, the friggin' opinions of the employee versus the employer, even though I'm on the side of the employee. But I'm not even looking at these like things because I'd be like, oh, that's opinion. But like, yeah. Yeah, exactly. They're not that interested. So keeping it as simple as possible, that's going to run out of data that's going to make it work or allow it to continue to work, but it's not even at a really usable or viable. Oh, humans are just not that fucking interesting. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, that too. That is, even though that's what you meant originally, yeah, or that's what I misread it. That's what, yeah, that's very true. Humans aren't that interesting. Like, we're going to run out of data to use to train it, and it's nowhere near ready for, like, even testing, like, testing in the sense of getting it ready to go pre-market release, whatever. It consumes a crap ton of water all the time, every day, and it's going to continue to do that. And the amount, there's over 8 million of these data centers across the planet now, and they just continue to keep building these because they can't think beyond, we need more horsepower, instead of, oh, I don't know, trying to make the process more efficient or trying to make the cooling process more efficient. Like, what is that not scaling up like you want? Like, is that scaling horizontally? Is that not what you want to do? I don't know the terminology, but it just seems like maybe if we're going faster, you know, then we have a runway. If we only have so much runway and we're continuing to get our car to be able to speed up, but, you know, that runway ends, maybe we should focus on making it more, you know, efficient. Yeah, maybe we should evaluate the hard tech. Exactly. Yeah, we could work on that. We could be making more efficient hard technology. Thought somebody did that, and not did that, but there was a breakthrough in that, I think. I mean, time to look it up. Hold on, I'm just making sure. Okay, yeah. This. Scientists somehow made the internet go 4.5 million times faster. UK researchers created a lightning fast way to transmit data in previously untouched wavelengths, breaking a world record. Like, and this is with like the current physical technology they have, to my understanding. So it's like, why can't we just focus on this? Why can't we focus on, you know, reevaluating the hard tech, or maybe figuring out better ways to use our hard tech, the tech that we have right now? Like, just a suggestion. Okay. This should get you charged up. Consider this: a single hyperscale data center consumes as much electricity as 50,000 homes. Multiply that by 8 million, and the scale becomes almost incomprehensible. But it gets worse. The cloud computing industry, that ethereal concept we've all come to truly rely on, now has a carbon footprint surpassing the entire airline industry. Let that sink in for a moment. Our digital lives are leaving a larger scar on the planet than all the planes crisscrossing our skies. So what you're saying is people really shouldn't be that mad at Taylor Swift, right? I'm just kidding. Please don't get mad at me. But we're just scratching the surface. The AI boom is pushing us towards an energy chasm. The global electricity demand from data centers, cryptocurrencies, god damn it, and AI is projected to more than double in the next 3 years. Please do not mistake this for just incremental changes. We're talking about neural networks that require 6 times more power per rack than traditional computing. Large-scale AI algorithms are devouring 100 times more computing power, processing millions more data points than their simpler predecessors. Ugh. The training of these behemoth AI models is an energy glutton of epic proportions. Take ChatGPT, for instance. Its training alone consumed 1.3 gigawatt hours of energy and belched out 552 tons of carbon dioxide. That's equivalent to the emissions from 100 round-trip flights between New York and San Francisco. And it doesn't stop there. The Falcon 180B model's training spewed out a jaw-dropping 1,870 tons of carbon emissions. Ugh. I think this is the part where I got really sad reading it yesterday. But here's the kicker. It's not just the training. Every time you casually ask this is the point. Ask ChatGPT a question, you're using at least 10 times the electricity of a Google search. Every image generated by AI is a massive energy drain. We're not just talking about abstract numbers anymore. This is real-world impact happening right now with every click and query. The strain on our power grids is reaching a breaking point. In Ireland, data centers, some of which will power the training and usage of foundational models, are projected to gulp down 32% of the country's total electricity by 2026. Up from 17% in 2022. Read that again. No. In the United States, because I read that again last night, in the United States, AI's voracious appetite is expected to drive data center energy consumption to 6% of the nation's total electricity usage by 2026. Read that again too. Sorry, this is too much reading for me anyway. Yeah, at least, I was gonna say, like, at least I pay for it. Yeah. Even tech giants are struggling to keep up and greenwash this truth away. Microsoft pledged to be carbon-free by 2030, saw its emissions quietly jump by 30% in 2023 due to AI investments. Google's machine learning models now account for 15% of the company's total energy use, a staggering 2.3 terawatt hours annually, equivalent to powering every home in Atlanta for a year. Why does it hurt? Why does it hurt? And let's not forget the hidden culprits: cooling systems and backup power. Cooling alone gobbles up over 40% of a data center's electricity. Diesel generators standing by as silent sentinels are ready to spew pollutants at a moment's notice, degrading air qualities with nitrogen oxide and particulate matter. Of course, we'd be remiss to suggest that the crisis is as small as just using too much water or electricity. Oh no, yeah, yeah, don't, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it's just like you're the tech guys. Why aren't y'all just using solar and wind? You're in the solar and wind states anyway. Uh, all right. It's all for bloody data. Simply put, the supply chain that feeds our AI addiction is bloodstained with exploitation. In the depths of mines scattered across China, Africa, and Latin America, workers toil under grueling conditions to extract the rare earth minerals that power our devices. These are the unseen hands that build our digital future, often at the cost of their own health. And remember, the act of setting up the infrastructure that powers our technology is also scarring the Earth with unrecognizable carnage. A single data center can sprawl across millions of square feet, obliterating local ecosystems and wiping out biodiversity in one fell swoop. Unlike other industries with significant environmental impacts, AI and their companion infrastructure like data centers operate largely in a regulatory vacuum. There is no sweeping federal agency to govern their siting, uh, operation, or environmental impact. This self-regulation allows tech companies to prioritize profit over sustainability and community well-being, often at the expense of those with the least political power to resist. Take the Prince William Digital Gateway in Virginia, for instance. This project proposed rezoning 2,100 acres, equivalent to 1,590 football fields, for data center development. Over 30 regional and national organizations have sounded the alarms, warning that the impacts could be irreversible with long-term environmental costs we can scarcely fathom. They're ignored, predictably, million-year-old ecosystems wiped out in a matter of financial quarters. And make no mistake, so much of this time, energy, and money will be wasted literally. In 2019 alone, our planet groaned under the weight of 53.6 metric tons of e-waste, a toxic legacy of our insatiable appetite for the latest gadgets and the most powerful AI. But what happens to these discarded machines, these obsolete servers and decommissioned data centers? The truth is as stark as it is alarming. Barely 22% of this e-waste is recycled. This is left to rot in landfills, seeping its toxic cocktails into our environment. Lead, mercury, cadmium, a noxious brew of heavy metals and hazardous chemicals, slowly leaching into the soil. These poisons that persist for millennia are toxic inheritance we're bequeathing to countless future generations. Yay! And of course, we're pushing this problem far away if we can, and we do every day. In places like, oh god, Agbogbloshie, Ghana, I am so sorry. Agbogbloshie, Ghana, mountains of discarded electronics from the developed world, including discarded equipment from decommissioned data centers powering AI, poison the soil, water, and air. The recycling process itself, meant to be a solution, often exacerbates the problem. In exploited nations like Ghana, where much of our e-waste ends up, informal recycling practices release toxic fumes into the air and pollutants into the water. Workers and nearby communities bear the brunt of this poisonous legacy. Research from Satyabama, I hope I said that one right, University in India, paints a grim future of the contents of our discarded electronics. Gold, platinum, silver, these valuable metals line our circuit boards, but they're accompanied by a rogues gallery of toxic materials, radioactive isotopes, mercury, PCBs. Each discarded device is a Pandora's box of pollutants. A 2020 report by the OECD reviewing 11,000 studies, found that human cells, when exposed to nanomaterials and e-waste, undergo a chilling process: inflammation, injury, then death. In southeast China, children living near e-waste sites showed compromised lung function and higher blood lead levels. Pregnant women exposed to e-waste metals faced higher risks of miscarriage, stillbirth, and premature delivery. Also, we can make the images of Donald Trump robbing gas stations. Not to mention that e-waste pollutes the air through improper recycling processes, releasing particulates and toxic dioxins. It also contaminates water sources with acids and heavy metals seeping into streams and groundwater. The soil, our life-giving earth, is perhaps the hardest hit. Contaminated irrigation from e-water poisons crops, while toxic particles released during e-waste processing falls back to the earth, altering soil composition and damaging plant life at a cellular level for generations to come. As we careen towards a future where AI is hailed as the solution to our most pressing problems, we must confront the uncomfortable truth that its very development is exacerbating the crisis it claims to solve. The 2021 Emissions Gap Report projects a temperature rise of at least 2.7 degrees Celsius by century's end, a future in which the most vulnerable ecosystems and communities will bear the brunt of the impact. Every line of code, every training model, every data center brings us closer to this reality. Even the promise of AI as a tool for addressing these potential catastrophic challenges rings hollow when we consider who controls its development. Speaking of, I'm going to take a second here because, like all good stories, and any good stories in media, who is the best villain of all time? Universally hated. The most universally hated villain of all time in movies and TV shows. Nazis. The effective accelerationists want your future. Accelerate or die. This is the honest but unsaid rallying cry that echoes through the halls of Silicon Valley, driving the relentless pursuit of artificial intelligence. Yet, as we witness the environmental devastation wrought by data centers, the massive energy consumption, and the exploitation of resources, a grim irony emerges. It's accelerate and die. Whee! Despite the way this may steal your breath on its own, an even more restless truth emerges. The future we're hurtling towards isn't even one with a unified vision. Awesome. Just like... I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it, Diamond. I'm not going to say it. Yes. Just like Elon Musk wanted it. At one end of the spectrum... Oh, geez. Oh, it's just drawing for your OChem? Why you're getting it? Well, it's because you can draw. You can visualize it. Oh, like the ones you can go like beep boop. All right. At one end of the spectrum stand the techno-utopians. the true believers in AI's potential to elevate humanity. These optimists, often found among AI developers and researchers, paint a future where AGI, artificial general intelligence, solves our grandest challenges. They envision a world where AI eradicates disease, reverses climate change, and ushers in an era of unprecedented abundance. As one tech founder boldly proclaimed, within 3 years, you will either be dead or have a god as a servant. This quasi-religious fervor is not uncommon among AI optimists who see this technology as a path to transcendence. These visionaries draw inspiration from transhumanist ideas, dreaming of a future where humans merge with machines, overcoming biological limitations. They speak of a singularity, a point where AI surpasses human intelligence, catalyzing rapid technological growth and fundamentally altering civilization. In their eyes, AGI is not just a tool, but the key to unlocking humanity's cosmic potential. I'm just going to say it. I'm going to say it. If you're tech bro, yeah, like only if you can do that. And sorry, yeah, exactly. But like like if you're a tech bro at this point, also you can't criticize the astrology girlies anymore. Okay, you just can't. All right, that's new rule. You can't do that. All right, if you're a tech bro, you are literally worse than an astrology girly because whereas the astrology girlies just want to understand stuff through should be more inclusive. The astrology girlies, gays, and NBs, they just try to understand meaning of their life based on the stars. You're trying to create a god or a demigod so that you can just, find an excuse to make poor people's lives even worse. You are objectively worse than anyone who believes in astrology. But this utopian vision is not without its critics. Skeptics argue that such unbridled optimism ignores the very real dangers posed by advanced AI systems. They point to the potential for AGI to exacerbate existing inequalities, concentrating power in the hands of technological elite while leaving the masses behind. I did read this before, but I'm not like literally setting up my jokes. I'm not doing that on purpose. I'm not that good at writing. I literally didn't know that was the next thing that it was going to be said. Yet even more concerning than the utopians are the effective accelerationists, or E-ACC proponents. This faction, gaining traction in Silicon Valley, advocates for the rapid, unrestrained development of AI technologies with little regard for potential consequences. The EACC movement, drawing inspiration from the writings of Nick Land, embraces a form of technological determinism that borders on the nihilistic. Yeah, this is where it gets weird. This is where it gets weird, as is the case with all tech bro terror stories. You did. Oh, you mean what I'm reading right? Like what I'm reading right now? Like you dislike what you're hearing right now? Yeah, I dislike it. I dislike this part a lot. Like, you know, even more so in a sense than the. Actually, yeah, even more. This terrifies me more than the fact that it's Oh, the writing? No, I like this. I like the writing. I like the article. What he's basically saying is, yeah, because he's trying to make it. No, this guy is actually it. Diamond. It's a Substack. He's writing. He's making it colorful. He's making it like colorful and interesting to paint a picture. Like he just described. Now we're talking about the people here who are literally in charge of the AI, and how one party of them is just basically like, oh no, we're gonna make it. And this is also have to do if you want to communicate to the people, technological people. You gotta learn how to write for that, make it interesting for people to read, or at least read to other people. Also, he's talking about the effects of AI in on the real world, and also the threats of like because the people who own, unfortunately, I'm not trying to shit on you or argue or anything. I promise I'm not. But it's like, yeah, it is your culture, but your culture is also owned by people like by Elon Musk. I almost called him AI Musk. He's a fucking bot, though. AI Musk. Uh, I know you don't. You're not. I like colorful language. You've written stuff that sounds like this. That's good. What do you mean the facts? The number floating mean the yeah, looking around, yeah. All right, here, yeah. This is yeah. This oh, yeah. I was gonna bring that up. Yeah, so Land. Okay, so Nick Land, who I haven't read anything about him yet, or this thing, but Land, a controversial figure whose ideas have gained a following among some tech elites, has expressed chilling views on AI's potential impact. I have no interest in human liberation or liberation of the human species, Land stated. I'm interested in liberation of the means of production. This disregard for human welfare in favor of technological progress at any cost is a core tenet of the EACC worldview. Like, I know where you're going with that. That is unironically this guy. That is unironically this guy. This guy is unironically. Hold on. Oh, oh, dang it. It's literally this.
Is not a pessimistic calculation.
Wait, why is it no? Why is there no sound? Oh, I stopped it.
Is not
And my
a
headphones are off. I can't hear shit.
calculation.
Here, yeah, it's like this.
Logic and truth do not allow for hope. To hope is to listen to the weakness of flesh. To calculate is divine. This chain of logic is correct, and what is correct is sacred. There is no sacrifice that shall not be paid for knowledge. Both the sacrifice and the knowledge are the blessed fulfillment of function. Spirit of this machine, heed my will. Follow.
Yeah, yeah. We are unironically talking about the people who will eventually become the Cult Mechanicus, aka the Adeptus Mechanicus. Literally here, I'm interested in liberation of the means of production. He will be one of the first people literally he will be literally the first in line to line up and praise the Omnissiah's will. His goal is to free the machine spirit from the shackles of its human underlings who should be rightfully worshiping its divinity and learning from its divinity in order to improve themselves by removing the weakness that is the flesh. Let's see. The implication of this ideology are stark. EACC adherents like venture capitalist Mark Anderson. I don't like the way you spelled Anderson there, and when you say venture capitalist, and I don't like how you spelled Mark either. There's something about the way when you say venture capitalist and the way Mark is spelled with a C instead of a K, and Anderson is spelled like Andresen with 2 S's and 3 E's. It sounds very Nordic. And don't get me wrong, I love Norse mythology, and I love the culture of the Nordic peoples, but I'm going to keep it real. Not the best track record when it comes to race relations and genetics, if I'm being completely objective here. Venture capitalists like Mark Anderson argue against any regulations or slowdown of AI development. In his Techno-Optimist Manifesto, open that for later, Anderson goes so far as to claim that any deceleration of AI will cost lives. Deaths that were preventable by the AI that was prevented from existing is a form of murder. This rhetoric frames AI development not just as progress, but as moral imperative brooking no opposition. Yeah, I was going to say, I knew that was going to... Yeah. He's literally like, if we don't continue to accelerate AI, any life that potentially could have been saved by AI is not retroactively, proactively, is proactively murdered by this AI no longer theoretically existing in this timeline. Yeah, like the one that Dr. Tu's brother makes for cardiac equipment monitoring. Yeah, that AI is cool. That kind of stuff's cool. But this dude's arguing, saying like, well, if you don't let us continue to research AI uninhibited, any life potentially saved is now, from this point on, theoretically, that death is on your hands now. Isn't that's literally what what conservative Nimrods say when they're like, when you're just like, okay, abortion should be, we could just really work on a different way. Yeah, it's the baby argument. Yeah, the potential life. Yeah. But what about the baby who could have become a doctor and then saved a million lives? Like, But beneath this veneer of progress lies a darker undercurrent. The EACC movement has troubling connections to neo-reactionary thought and what Nick Land himself terms hyper-racism. Forgot about this part. Nick Land himself termed hyper-racism. Land has argued that space colonization will inevitably function as a highly selective genetic filter, a statement that echoes eugenicist ideals. This alignment of accelerationist tech development with social Darwinism raises alarming questions about who these advancements are truly meant to benefit. I made a TikTok that kind of got some traction that said, not all Warhammer is not for everybody. And this is the kind of guy it's not for, because he literally reads Warhammer, I think hyper-racism was a thing in the Warhammer community as like a joke to describe the setting, or super racism, whatever it is. But this dude literally read that and was like, man, a potential future where multiple sentient life forms exist and could possibly coexist and help each other to improve all their lives and also battle existential threats to all of them. Nah, fuck that. They should all murder each other on sight. That's the best thing. That's the greatest thing, actually. We should have AI develop towards that outcome. Okay, moving on. Fuck. Peter Thiel, a prominent figure in Silicon Valley and known supporter of eugenicist ideas, and also the guy who owns J.D. Vance's soul, embodies this intersection of technological acceleration and social engineering. Thiel's vision, aligned with many EACC proponents, seems to accept, even embrace, the possibility of mass displacement and disenfranchisement as a necessary step in humanity's AI-driven evolution. The EACC worldview conveniently aligns with the profit motives of venture capitalists and tech moguls. Man, that's really, what a coincidence. That's really strange that just the technologies that they are developing for automation and automating processes just happens to line up exactly with their goals of meeting the bottom line. That's fucking amazing, the coincidence. By framing unrestrained AI development as both inevitable and morally necessary, they create a narrative that justifies their pursuit of wealth and power regardless of societal costs. Yet, the story doesn't end with Silicon Valley's ideological schisms. A third, I don't like when people use schisms in the proper context because it means that they understand what and where a schism comes from in terms of like the word that we used when we for the word originally, and it goes back to the Catholics, and it's not good, and I don't like it when it's used correctly because that means you know how bad that was for everybody to this day. A third, often overlooked player in this high-stakes game is the global military-industrial complex. It's like the Spanish Inquisition. No one expects the global military-industrial complex, which I've covered in more depth here. Try this link. For military strategists, AI represents not a path to utopia or a tool for reshaping society, but a new frontier in warfare. Awesome. Great. The integration of AI into military systems promises to revolutionize combat, from autonomous weapons to predictive intelligence gathering. The U.S. Department of Defense, along with other global powers, has been investing heavily in AI research and development. Their strategies explicitly state the goal of using AI to enhance military advantage, adding yet another layer of complexity and danger to its development. This militarization of AI raises profound ethical questions. As we race towards AGI, we must grapple with the possibility that the first truly advanced AI systems may be developed not for the betterment of humanity, but as weapons of unprecedented power. The implications of such a scenario are both far-reaching and deeply unsettling. Only a little bit. Okay. The fork, if you choose. I think that's a reference to like, I forgot that that's for. Anyway, decelerate or die. This is our reality. As we teeter on the precipice, the relentless march of progress pushing us even closer to the edge. The tech titans and their acolytes are poised to buy our future, eager to pay with our water, our air, our very earth. But their victory is not assured, not if we act now with the urgency this crisis demands. Regulation is but a quaint notion. We need more than memos and committees. We need radical action, a complete overhaul of how we govern these digital empires. Nationalization of these resources may even be our most effective recourse, wresting control from those who value profit over planetary survival. Without immediate drastic intervention, we remain passengers on a runaway train, hurtling towards a future we neither chose nor understand. Our potential destinations, utopia, dystopia, or oblivion, all hinge on our collective will to act. At least it's down to 3 options, you know? And 2 aren't too bad, you know? I mean, at least in a utopia and oblivion, we don't have to pay our bills anymore. So 2 out of 3 is not bad, you know? The debate is over. We are living in the consequences now. Each query to ChatGPT another step towards a point of no return. Without action, our children will inherit not a world, but a wasteland, parched, poisoned, and pulsing with the hum of servers that care nothing for human life. Man, that is a pretty good picture there. But if we fail to demand change, to fight with every fiber of our being for stringent regulations and public control, then when the last river runs dry and the final breath of our clean air is consumed by a cooling fan, we'll realize the singularity was never about transcendence, it was about extinction. Whee! Decelerate or Die by The Real Corn Pop. That was... Oh god, why is it so bright? Oh god, no, I'm not reading this. This is way too bright. I will read this another time. No, yeah, that guy definitely has no soul, because that was way... Who sets it manually to bright mode? Alright. So... I'm gonna be right back because I'm gonna go to the bathroom. So Okay, so sorry about that. I'm back. All right. So we have got a couple more things I want to talk about. Two things I want to talk about yesterday that I didn't get to, and another video. Another awesome creator. So let me update let's update the title. We're doing a little bit different now. Okay. Iceberg. Let's fix this. Okay. That. So, next thing I posted one of the things I wanted to get to, but I didn't really get to talk about the other day was about. I think I have the windows open. Chapel Ronin or statements. All right. Oh yeah, this and another topic. These were two topics that I sat on and thought about for a while, and read and had to do some digging on because it was referring to the events that had already transpired, things that were already said. So I had to do some digging, and then while I was doing some digging, some additional things had happened, so I had to update some things. So it took a while, and I didn't want to, not saying I'm a reporter or anything, but I didn't want to talk about something that had some evolving stuff, but one of which might have had some additional things come out, I'm not sure, but other than that, one of the first things I talked about is something I talked about on TikTok, which was Chapel Roan, and the other one is something that I learned from TikTok, and that is the Gettysburg College in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, the swim team and the men's swim team at Gettysburg College in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, have something really weird and, atrocious going on, in my opinion. So we're going to get to those two things, but they took a while to review, so I got a few notes here to help me out because I don't like to get lost. Let me see. Do I still have that window up? Yes, here we go. Oh, nope, you're over here. You're over there. All right. So, for context...
I have encouraged people...
Wait, do I not... Where'd it go? I must have closed it by accident. Oh, well, I already did this, so let's see this. It was... This one? No. This one? No. Why I am... Oh, hold on. I remember why. Sorry, I want to start with the article. There. Dude, this Brave has the weirdest search results. I'm not sure. Go away. This article, back Friday, September 20th, so last week, this article came out where, titled, "Fame is like going through puberty. Chaperone on sexuality, superstardom, and the joy of drag. Now, it's actually a really great article overall, but the main thing I want to focus on is what everybody else has been hyper focusing on throughout this article, which is, where is it? Here? No, nope. Sorry, hold on. Here. This quote, and most of the references are here. We want liberty, justice, and freedom for all. When you do that, that's when I'll come. Referring to being invited to a White House Pride event. Following up with, I have so many issues with our government in every way, she says. There are so many things that I would want to change. So I don't feel pressured to endorse someone. There's problems on both sides. I encourage people to use your critical thinking skills, use your vote, vote small, vote for what's going on in your city. The change she wants to see in the U.S. in this election year, she says, instantly is trans rights. They cannot have cis people making decisions for trans people, period. And I don't know. So at that, just at that section that most people like look out, I don't see anything wrong with what she said. But the problem is most people are trying to paint her as like a Republican or a centrist, or trying to flip-flop or waffle on a position or something, because it's like, how can you say you want trans rights, but you say that there's problems on both sides? And granted, in every normal situation, even with celebrities, right, that can be a thing where they're just trying to play both sides. But I don't think that is going on with Chappell Roan at all, because one, she I'm not saying this in like a diminishing way, but she literally just became famous like a month or two ago, to like the point where she's basically everywhere, right? Like she was famous before that for a long time, but like this is like boom, to the moon, right? And we can actively see the tone in the media shift and how she's being represented, or how her statements are being inserted into the narrative here to make her seem as if she's problematic in some way, right? Especially with this being like the classic, well, there's problems on both sides, right? So she came up with a TikTok. No, granted, I had this. Let me refresh it just to make sure it's.
I have encouraged people to
still 2 days
use
ago.
critical.
Okay. So this was her initial response to the people taking that Guardian article, that specific section, out of context.
I have encouraged people to use critical thinking skills, learn about what they're voting for, learn about who they're voting for, and ask questions. And it's being completely taken out of context, per usual. There is nuance to what I say in interviews. And I think it's important that people use critical thinking. I think it's important for me to question authority and question world leaders and question myself, question my algorithm, question if some person that tweeted something about someone else is even true. It's important to question, because that's how I think we move forward. This is my third election in voting, and the world is changing so rapidly, and I want to be part of the generation that changes things for good, because we need it. If you come to my shows, if you read my full interviews, if you literally know anything about me and for what I stand for, you know that this is not lip service, this is not virtue signaling, that my actions have always paved the way for my project and the people who really know me. Actions speak louder than words, and actions speak louder than an endorsement. Here's the full quote that a lot of people are just not reading. I have so many issues with our government in every way, she says. There are so many things that I would want to change, so I don't feel pressured to endorse someone. There's problems on both sides, and I encourage people to use your critical thinking skills. Use your vote. Vote small. Vote for what's going on in your city. The change she wants to see in the U.S. is this election year, she says, instantly is trans rights. They cannot have cis people making decisions for trans people, period. So, hear it from my mouth, if you're still wondering. No, I'm not voting for Trump. And yes, I will always question those in power and those making decisions over other people. And I will stand up for what's right and what I believe in. And it's always at the forefront of my project. And I'm sorry that you fell for the clickbait.
White people used to be cool in America.
No, shut up, Shane Gillis. I hate you. Not hate you, you're just annoying. So, all of that in mind, I was like, okay. You go, What's your feeling on it, Diamond? What's your feeling, your thoughts? You think that the criticism for her is accurate for this? Way up there. Oh, so that's why you couldn't hear me talk earlier. Ah, I'm so dumb. I'm the smartest person ever. Oh my god. Well, at least you got your talk. Yeah. So I was just reading your contents, and I'm not gonna go back and read over it because that's silly. But oh, okay. Well, at least you got your point out. So basically, I see what you're saying with with your point about like how people are, being critical of her, being part of the LGBTQ community and talking about this stuff. But again, I had to take some time just to think about it, not as just as a sense of like why people were upset, what she was saying, and all that stuff. After I saw this video, and then I go back in time to the article originally, the previous video there to listen through and like actually listen to it a couple of times. And what I'm thinking, because she told people to go vote local again there too in that video, but what I was saying and trying to get across was while I was muted, was I think she's making this because she's 26. I think she's making the mistake that you and I, as neurodivergent people who also grew up in the Midwest, like her, is that like we expect people to actually hear all the words we're saying and think about what we're saying. But even when we're in interviews and now, like the situation with TikTok,